I'm over at the dark side again. I'm in Seminyak, and today I have a plan to go down some of the old places that I used to go to when I used to come to Semenyak back in the day. Haven't been here for quite a while actually. The main road I want to check out is Jalan Cua or Cua. It used to be called Jalan Oberoi, I think, unofficially, and or like Eat Street or Jalan Laksamana. There was heaps of names that I remember back in the day for that road, but these days it's Jalan Cua. I'm going to check that out. I'm going to check out a few places to eat and have a coffee because that's the sort of place it is now. It certainly feels quite busy. Let's get stuck in. Before we get started and start walking down that road, I want to check out a place called Bread Yard, which is really at one end of that road, sort of the Kuta end of Semenyak. Before I get too far inside, I'll have a coffee, a bite to eat, and then I'll get back out there and show you what's going on in the street. I just have a feeling that the crowd from Kuta of the old days is now here. That's what it feels like when I first came here. I actually just rode up Jalan Legian all the way from Kuta to here, and the Legian was just totally dead. Hardly a person walking on the side of the road. As I started getting closer to Semenyak, past 66 and that sort of stuff, it started getting a little bit busier. And then when I turned the corner into Jalan Cua, it got really busy. So they've got this really nice outdoor area out here, which is beautiful. People get on Instagram shots. You got pizza being made. Hello. And then the inside's like this. Now, it's interesting, this sort of place, because the prices at a place like this are not far off the prices that you pay in Australia. Honestly, like my coffee's 40,000 plus 16% tax. I've got a couple of sandwiches, they were 100 each, and they were the cheapest items on the menu for like a lunch thing. Some of the items on the menu were 170, 200,000, that sort of stuff, and you're getting really expensive prices there. It's a lot more expensive than what you'd pay over in Sanur area, but I've got a funny feeling the quality is like top-notch, world-class quality, and I think that's where in Indonesia, if you want top quality, world-class quality, you pay for it. So this is what my cappuccino looks like. Susan's got a drink in a plastic cup, which is a little bit, it's a bit cheap for me. Let's try the cappuccino. That is a good coffee, excellent coffee. Love it, love that coffee. This is the focaccia with smoked leg ham. Looks good, it's big. Looks really good actually. Looking forward to that, it's toasted. All right, let's check out this sandwich. It looks good. And it tastes good too. That is a fantastic sandwich, like a really amazing sandwich. Also got a fried chicken sando, which I won't film myself eating, but you can see it there. It's really large and it looks really good. If it's anything like this particular focaccia that I just had, we know it's going to be excellent. And I think for the price, I think it's okay. It's quite a large meal. I'm not opposed to paying that much money for something that's that good quality, honestly. As much as that place is so delicious and just such high quality, it does leave me feeling a little bit empty, you know? It's not really why I come to Bali, even though I love the food. Yeah, I guess it's one of those things, isn't it, when you come to Bali? What do you want to eat? Do you want to eat real local style, or do you want to dip your toes into some international cuisine, or you just want the home cooked food that you might have appreciated many years ago, or do you just simply want a cafe? It's just tough to know. I mean, yeah, I just feel a little bit empty when I have a good meal like that, and I think, I'm in Bali. Just to give you some context about where I am, this is the old tuck shop. Yeah, there's a cafe called the Tuck Shop on the corner there. Also called, I think they called it the Corner Store. Now it's known as Hawker Night Market Corner House. So obviously, I mean, the old tuck shop place burnt down, and that's, I don't know if it's the same owners or not, or what the story is, but it's got the word corner in it. Maybe it's the same owners, but it doesn't feel like the same sort of concept. That was one of the early cafes in this area, and it was incredibly popular and incredibly modern for the time here in Bali. This is the scene down here on Jalan Cua. I'm struggling trying to get that done. Oh, look at all the rubbish, nice. I'm struggling with those names because for me it was always Jalan Oberoi or Jalan Laksamana. And Laksamana is a famous Indonesian hero, one of those names that you hear all around the place in Indonesia. So this all looks pretty much as it always did. I mean, I'm sure the businesses have all sort of cycled through and changed over, but it doesn't feel very busy down here, to be honest. I'm actually getting the impression that there are little pockets of busyness, like that cafe I was just at was incredibly busy, and then I get out onto the street and then it's quiet, and that's a little bit odd because as I was riding up here, it was a little bit busier. So there might be little pockets. Maybe people don't walk around much anymore. I don't know. But I don't mind walking around in the heat, but it just feels like people aren't really walking around so much. Maybe middle of the day, people just don't like walking in the heat anymore. When I started coming here over 20 years ago for the first time, it was somewhere along here on the right-hand side. There were a couple of restaurants that were favourites of mine back in the day, you know. I mean, you're a different person now and standards have changed. Hello, how you going? But I can't remember what the exact name of them was. I thought Trattoria was one of them, but I'm not even sure if that was one of the original ones down here, was it? The good thing about this area, as well as Legian and Kuta, is that you can still get picked up by a cab here on the side of the road without any hassle at all. Whereas if you get further into Canggu, it's heavily restricted in some areas where you have the mafia trying to control what you can and can't do with taxis. Still to this day, not everywhere, but in some areas. And yeah, that's why it's sort of a little bit more convenient if you like to catch cabs around the place to come to a place like Seminyak versus Canggu. One of the interesting things about Seminyak when I first started coming here was that it was the upmarket place. Like, you were a high class person if you sort of lived here or if you hung out in Seminyak, whereas all the ordinary people were back in Legian and Kuta. And I look at it now and, well, even when I think back on those times, it was just ridiculous that people even thought that. I mean, they would call themselves high class, but, you know, instead of drinking bintangs, they were drinking, I don't know, Heinekens or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, there was not much different. Everyone's just out there having a good time, having a swim in the pool and drinking alcohol of some sort, but that whole facade has gone completely now. There is none of that facade here at all. This is now the place for the everyman. Anyone can come here and feel at home. Oh, that's interesting. Kementerian Transmigrasi. That is a really interesting one. So Transmigrasi is a program they have in Indonesia of moving poor people out of densely populated areas into areas that are more rural, where you've got a bit more land that you can go and farm. This transmigration program. That's one of the places I remember, that Cafe Bali place. That's been there a very long time. That was always well regarded, that place. But that was a long time ago, wasn't it, that sort of kicked off? I spent two major periods of time in places like Seminyak back in the day. So one was around 2002, and one was around 2010, I think it was. And for me, in my mind, a lot of those experiences have blended into one time frame. They all feel like the same period of time when there was an 8-year gap between them, which is quite interesting. Up here on the right is Mykonos, and now I know that's been there at least 16 years, because I remember, or 15 years, yeah, at least 15 years, because I remember going to that in 2010, but I might have gone there earlier as well. But as we go past Mykonos, we're getting close now to a place called Seminyak Square, which is straight ahead. Now, when I first started coming down here, I remember there was rice fields left and right down here. So it hadn't really sort of started being built up at that stage, and that Seminyak Square is only a relatively new thing in the scheme of the Semenyak history. As I keep saying the word Seminyak, I keep trying to catch myself because I don't know whether I should say it with an Indonesian accent or the way that we Aussies say it. Like, for example, I say Sanur, which is the Aussie way, but it should be Sanur. So really for Seminyak, I should be saying Seminyak, shouldn't I? Seminyak. I don't know. The interesting thing about the word Seminyak, it's actually, minyak means oil, and se is a sort of prefix you give to words where you have, like, if you want to say one of something. So Seminyak, it sort of means like one oil almost. It probably has some really interesting history to it, which I don't know about, but it's obviously something to do with oil somewhere. Over the past week here in southern Bali, we've had some really shocking weather. Mainly in the mornings, they've had these really massive rains, and a few days ago there was such torrential rain, probably as heavy as I've ever seen it, but not just heavy, it's extended length as well. So, I mean, Bandung, where I sort of spent 12 years, had some severe wet seasons as well, where you have heavy rains. But the thing about it is that usually those really, really intense rains only last 5 minutes, and then it just reverts to pouring it down. You know, it's not that real sort of cyclonic stuff. But the other day, it was so intense and so long that there was just flooding everywhere, and the water reached a level outside my house higher than I've seen it before. But I've only been here for a few wet seasons, so I haven't got a long history to sort of go by, but it was pretty bad. Okay, that was the old rice field that had something built on it and has already been knocked down, it looks like. Things change quickly here in Bali. It's funny, I just saw a couple with their two teenage daughters coming past, and there's lots of tattoo parlours here, and one of the girls was saying, "Mum, I still want to get my nose pierced," and the dad goes, "No." So they call this a flea market in Semenyak, Bali, I think. So you come through this little bar area, and then to the right, it's a Damasta sports bar, and then to the right you get to the flea market. Oh, this is pretty cool. I haven't seen this before. Yeah, a lot more character than a lot of the old art and craft shops, isn't it? And it makes it nice for people to sort of wander up and down these aisles to do a bit of shopping as well. It's pretty big as well. Look at this. Oh, look at all those hats you can get. That's pretty cool. Very cool. They're good hats, those ones.
Yeah.
Do you like my hat?
Yes.
Ah, yeah. Oh, nice. Nah, it's okay. Just browsing, just having a look. Thank you, brother.
Okay, brother.
Now that is a blast from the past, Coup d'etat. Remember that place? That used to be the place. You could actually go and get a really good brekkie there as well because there's a nice outlook over the beach, and you know, at night it became a sort of a nightclub, or almost like the forerunner of one of those beach clubs, almost. Just came across these two fabulous Gojek drivers, or Ojek, yeah?
I'm not this Gojek, I'm Grab.
Oh, Ojek and Grab.
Yes.
And they were just telling me that they come from other areas of Bali, is that right?
Yeah.
From Jembrana.
Yeah, Jembrana is West Bali near go to Japan.
Did you merantau ke sini?
Yes, I'm merantau with my family.
Your family as well? So you bring everyone?
No, just my son, my
Yeah.
daughter, and my husband.
Oh, that's good.
Small family.
And do you pulang kampung
Maybe
sering?
have ceremony.
Yeah.
And
So
then-
you're Hindu?
I'm Hindu.
Yeah. If you were not doing this here, if you were still in Jembrana, what would you do for a job?
Maybe in Jembrana,
Yeah.
nothing the job.
No job.
No job.
Impossible.
Impossible. Just maybe have the little job, but not good salary.
Really?
Very.
But it's expensive to live here, yeah?
But enough, you know.
So you get your sisanya
Ya.
is lebih besar di
Lebih
sini.
ada sedikit.
Yeah.
Tapi cost-nya juga sangat-sangat
Mahal.
mahal.
So how much do you pay for 1 month in a kos-kosan here?
I'm not cost.
Oh, no.
I rent house
Oh, wow.
1 year.
Yeah.
20 million.
Okay, 20.
But salary is nothing, you know.
And your husband works?
Work.
Yeah.
My
So-
husband work. I help my husband for the work.
So what about your children? What do you do with your
Oh,
children?
go school. Maybe my husband go school.
Ah.
And maybe my husband go to the work.
Yeah.
I'm not working.
Yeah.
Maybe
So-
my husband finish
Yeah.
work. I'm.
So this is really good for you to do Grab because you can stop, start.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's good for you.
Maybe I meet a lot some good human from
Yeah.
Aussie.
Oh yeah,
Very
Australia's
good.
the best.
Yeah. Very good price, very good everything.
Tipping as well.
It's very good.
Really?
$100,
Whee!
$60.
That's good.
I very lucky, you know.
Well, that's
I
good.
meet the good customer a lot.
If you get extra money, what do you do with it? Do you put it in the bank or do you?
No.
You always have expenses.
Always spend. I sip little bit.
Yeah.
Spend for children is
Yeah.
expensive for myself.
Yeah.
Because salary is in Bali or
Yeah.
Indonesia.
So you need this money.
Yes. Every day for a day.
Yeah.
Maybe like New Year session
Yeah.
or Christmas session.
Yeah.
Have the little bit
Yeah,
extra because it's special.
Yeah.
Celebration,
Yeah.
it's save money.
Hey, what's your name?
Ayu.
Nice to meet you, Ayu. I'm
Thank
Adam.
you. Adam. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Ayu. Ayu is really cool. Standing outside Coup d'etat, yeah?
That's right.
Do you normally hang out here?
Normally I stay here.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe we have like promised customer.
Yeah.
I offer online.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't have around with them.
Nice. Thank you very much, Ayu.
Thank you.
Have a good day. I hope you have some good
Bye-bye.
customers. See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Nice lady, yeah. Just past Coup d'etat, in this little area along here, just along here somewhere, I can't remember exactly where, there used to be some sort of Balinese or Indonesian restaurant that I used to go to. I just vaguely remember it because I just sort of flash back to it as I'm walking along this road. I have a sense that it was on that side of the road somewhere. And I loved that place. That was a long time ago. That was definitely over 20 years ago, that one. I wonder what it was called. I mean, I've given you no information about it, but I'm sure someone in the comments is going to remember what that place was. Just down there on the left, some sort of Indonesian restaurant that wasn't real local style. it still had some Western influences, like when you got your satay, you had it in one of those clay pots with the charcoal in it, for example. So it was sort of modern, but still Indonesian food. This big wall I've got along my left here is the wall for the Legian Hotel, and for a very long time that was the most, or one of the most exclusive hotels in all of Bali. Just enormous and very expensive and exclusive. I think I actually went in there once to have a look at the rooms, and they were just enormous rooms. I often wonder how these hotels fare over time, because 20 years is a long time for a hotel, and without renovations that we know sometimes go astray a little bit here in Bali, they can start to look a little bit old, and I'd be curious as to whether that's still the place to go. That place used to be really good. What is a Sea Circus? All right. But that looks quiet, like really quiet. I remember back in the day, Sea Circus was just really popular, just not anymore. I guess time moves on, doesn't it, you know? Still looks pretty good though. If you turn right down that way, that's sort of like a shortcut up to Seminyak Square, which I've already passed, and it goes past Sisterfields, which was one of the first like top level restaurants, well, probably not restaurant, like cafes in this area. It still exists as well. Very popular place, or it used to be. Remember this area? This is Petit Tangat, yeah? So the road turns into Jalan Petit Tangat. I think that is the name of the temple as well. I'm not exactly what it's called, but it's basically the Petit Tangat temple. And then that is down to the beach. And I remember down there, a restaurant called La Luciola. Been there for a long time. I think it might still exist. You might know better than me. That was a good little place as well back in the day. Loved that. And then I remember up here somewhere was Biku. I remember Biku in a sort of like a Joglo style house, but that's all changed now, and I believe that it has moved. Petit Tangat is one of those words that when you first see it, you've got to say Petit Tangat, but it's wrong. It's Petit Tangat. Even that's probably not quite right, but you know what I'm saying. I've got this great little statue on the corner of the road here, and you get a good view of Jalan Petit Tangat. Just came across these two guys just having a bit of a rest out the front of the statue there. Jadi kalian asli dari mana? Dari Bali, daerah sini atau dari jauh?
Dari
Singaraja.
Denpasar.
Denpasar. Singaraja mana? Di kota atau di desa?
Di desa.
Di desa Buleleng.
Ya, Buleleng.
Jadi kalau Anda dari Denpasar, daerah mana?
Merah Pedungan.
Pasti tinggal di sana sekarang ya. Tapi kalau mau balik ke Singaraja gimana? Harus ngekos di sini ya? Sering pulang? Jarang pulang. Oke, ya makasih ya.
Semua rahayu.
Ya, suksema semeton. Ya, ya, oke. So yeah. I just like to see what the story is, because I'm trying to, in my own head, get a feel for the situation in Bali at the moment about where people come from, because I know that the demographics are changing a lot in Bali as work opportunities dry up for some people, they open up for others. And what that means is a lot of Balinese are sort of going up the levels as they become older and get up into the management levels. And some of those lower level jobs are now being taken by people from outside of Bali or from more rural areas where the opportunities are not so great. So you'll find a lot of people from outside of the immediate area coming into the south of Bali to make a living, to really try and succeed here. And as I've said in many of the other videos, there's a general term for leaving your village and seeking out a better life. And it's called merantau. And it's not just a word, there's a feeling attached to it as well. And you always long for your home. You might be rindu for your home. So rindu and merantau, they go hand in hand. It's actually a boiling hot and sunny day here in Semenyak today. And it's raining as well. It's one of those things where I'm just getting a bit of a burst of rain, and I'm sure it'll clear up in 5 seconds. That place over there is called Warung Dedalu. I used to go to that place all the time back in the day. Sorry. Nearly ran into that person. Going left or right on one of these ones. Yeah, I always used to go to that warung back in the day. Local food, cheap prices, pretty basic. But you know, if you're here for a little while, you don't want to have big heavy meals all the time. You just want something local and simple. That's the sort of place that fits the bill. It has been quite a while since I've been down here, and none of the places are familiar for me. None of the landmarks. So of course, between when I first came down this part of the road in 2002 and 2010, yes, of course it changed a lot because it got built up with, you know, the rice fields going and that sort of thing. And then from then on though, it seems to have changed a lot as well, because this, for me, just doesn't look familiar. It's quite odd, because I thought in my mind before I came here, I thought, oh yeah, just nick up there, go down there. I have to keep pulling open the map to see where I'm going, because I've got absolutely no idea where I am. I've got no landmarks that I'm familiar with. None of the, very few of the places that I remember in terms of cafes, restaurants and hotels exist anymore, especially up this end. Actually, one of the things I love about Bali is there is a lifetime of exploration, because once you've explored it all, everything's already changed. You've got to go and start again exploring it. It's a bit like the Harbour Bridge, you know, when you start at one end and start painting it, as soon as you've finished the other side of it, the first side needs to be painted again. So I feel like that with the exploration here in Bali. And to be honest, I mean, it's probably one of the reasons we all love Bali, is because it does reinvent itself. It has a bit of staticness to it, so the culture in the background stays a constant, but on the surface there's a lot of renewal all the time, and some of that causes discomfort when you see a place that you really love that sort of gets replaced by something else. But it's part of the beauty of Bali, is that it has been able to reinvent itself over the years. A lot of places, like you think of somewhere like Fiji, you know, it hasn't really reinvented itself at all. The other thing I love about it is that even though there are areas that some people hate and some people love, you can always find the place that's right for you. So if you don't really like Semenyak, you might go to Canggu, you might go to Sanur, you might go to Candidasa, or you might go remote into the bush. And for me, Bali really does have something for everyone. Someone commented, I think it was Dentre commented recently on one of my videos that said something like, let's face it, Bali doesn't have a lot of things that are attractive anymore. And I sort of pushed back against that a little bit. And my point was, you know what? I understand the comment, because there are some parts of Bali that are just completely unattractive to some people right now. You know, they've really, the overpopulation, the traffic and stuff has really killed parts of Bali. But that doesn't mean the whole of Bali is gone. There are still parts of Bali that are very, very attractive to me and to a lot of other people. And you just got to find the place that suits you. And over time, you may need to change your preferences a little bit. And I've always said about Sanur, if Sanur changes too much or becomes too expensive or gentrified, or my budget doesn't suit it anymore, I will move. I'm not wedded to the idea that I have to be in Sanur. At this time, I love it. But in the future, maybe not. I think we're well into the area now that you would call Kerobokan, if you say it in our Aussie English way, or I think the locals might say Kerobokan. That's how I would say it if I was speaking Indonesian. I don't even know if that's correct, but it's something more like that, I think. Yeah, so I would say Kerobokan. That's how you should say it. And if you say it faster, it turns into something like Kerobokan, something like that. Yeah, but if you just want to say it Aussie style, just Kerobokan, that's okay as well, isn't it? We all know what we're saying. One of the problems with place names here in Bali is that often we'll use a place name which relates to the desa adat. Sometimes we'll use a place name that's been given by the government, and sometimes they overlap. For example, we, I think, may still be in Kuta Utara, which is a government area, but we're not part of the desa adat in Kuta. We're probably part of desa adat Kerobokan Kelod or something like that. That's probably where we're at. And knowing exactly what to call the place that you're in is sometimes quite difficult. The reason I say that is because we're coming up to a place that's on my left, which is Umalas. But I don't know where the border of Umalas and Kerobokan is, or whether it's whether Umalas is actually a desa adat name or what it is. So it's hard sometimes to know exactly where you are and where the borders are for some of these things. A classic example of that would be Sanur. Desa adat Sanur starts from Pantai Segara Ayu and goes north from there. So what's south of there? What do they call that? Desa adat. Well, it's called Desa adat Intaran. So really our area is part of Intaran in Sanur, but we still call it Sanur. We call the whole area Sanur, and it's not really like an official name. It is a little bit in some areas because you actually do have Sanur village, part of the government system, but that has boundaries as well, which when we talk about Sanur, we sort of extend beyond those official boundaries. And I've got a funny feeling over here in Seminyak that we probably sort of give the word Seminyak to a lot of places that officially probably aren't. We do the same for sure in Uluwatu. We say that whole peninsula is Uluwatu. Back in the day, we used to call it the Bukit. And now we say Uluwatu, but it's definitely not all Uluwatu. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so excuse me if I sometimes mislabel a place that I'm in, because sometimes it's not 100% clear. That's pretty cool. There is still a rice field here on the side of the road in Seminyak. That's the first rice field I've seen on the side of the road coming through this area. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? I've sort of missed that part of, you know, Bali. When I first started coming here, some of these main roads still did have rice fields along the side of them, and that sort of was a nice thing about it. Well, that's long gone, you know, like so long ago that sort of went. You can still get that in some areas in Bali. You just got to go off the beaten track a little bit. Even going somewhere that's not really a tourist destination, and just stay there in like a homestay or something, you can have such a great experience, I think. Problem is, finding the place that suits you sometimes is a little bit complicated. And the reason it's a little bit complicated is because it's usually a place that may not have any reviews about it. No one really goes there. You're sort of beating your own path to a place that is not really a tourist destination. Yeah, I mean, I can sort of see that in Amlapura, really. I mean, when I was up in Amlapura, I sort of, I stumbled upon, I went into the middle of town, big city. Well, it's not bad, they call it a city. Went into the middle of the city, and off one of the side alleys, there's rice fields. And I could easily see myself sort of getting a house over there and just relaxing for a week, easily. Yeah, go for a walk in the rice fields. Not really a tourist destination, but probably suits a lot of people. There's another place that was busy back in the day, Pison. People used to love Pison. I don't know if they still do. I remember in about 2010 that sort of took off, I think, or was it a little bit later than that? Sometime around then. Okay, so there's a sign over there. We're at Banjar Umasari, Desa Adat Kerobokan. So we are in Kerobokan, you know, traditional village. Makes sense a little bit. As I come up here, up the end here, you can see a road, and it's called Jalan Cua. And if you go down that road to the left, you start getting into what they refer to now as Canggu, the whole area. That is good coffee over there, expat coffee. Roasters do really good coffee. Susan actually bought me a tin of it that I was actually using at home in my own little manual coffee machine. Excellent coffee. Now I'm actually walking east along Jalan Cua. And this used to be way out of the way, And I think it still is a little bit, because it doesn't seem very popular up here. There's just no one walking. But to be honest, ever since I got past Coup d'Etat and that sort of area, I've barely seen another foreigner at all walking along these streets. It's quite weird, actually. The first thing that you would think is that, well, it must be just very quiet here in Bali. But on second thoughts, I'm sort of thinking maybe, hello. I'm sort of thinking maybe people just don't walk as much as they used to. Maybe Bali's hotter than it used to be, or maybe we're all just a little bit lazier. We have a little sign here. Ada pekerjaan jalan dan trotoar sepanjang 500 meter. Basically, we have road and footpath works for the next 500 meters. Sepanjang means for the length of. Yeah, sepanjang for the length of 500 meters. Sepanjang 500 meters. A great way to use sepanjang is when you're talking about the length of the road. Like, for example, you might be saying, oh, something is happening sepanjang jalan, for the length of the road. So you might say the works are happening for the length of the road, or the flooding was for sepanjang jalan. The flooding was for the length of the road. Trotoar is another useful word that I use occasionally. Footpath. Yeah, we like to use the word trotoar a lot because they're a big issue here in Bali. They always get dug up. Over the past year, people have really come to enjoy some of the Indonesian language that I've been sharing on my channel, and I've often wondered what the best way for people to learn is. And I know people don't want to learn like a really bland course or anything, but there are some things that you need to learn on your own at home if you're ever going to improve. And I think the first thing that everyone should learn is numbers. Like, the numbers are fairly straightforward to learn. And once you've learnt those, it just opens up a whole array of different things for you as far as learning the language goes. So my advice would be try and learn some numbers. One of the things is with numbers, people often think that they're really complicated. When you get into the millions, you have to say 1,432,100. Yeah, But in English, it's quite complicated as well. The same sort of rules apply in Indonesian as they do in English. So once you know the numbers, you can actually construct your own large numbers in Indonesian, just like you would in English. Hey, I'm coming up to the main road here, which is Jalan Raya Kerobokan. That's the main north-south road out of the south of Bali, going up the west coast. And I'm going to leave it there because I think I'm just about done showing you all of this side of Semenyak and Kerobokan, at least the main roads. Thanks for coming along for the ride, and thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sanua. Kuda Seminyak Legian. Motorbikes as well. I'll catch you next time, and sampai jumpa.